When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois, live on a Thursday night, live on the YouTube, live on Twitch, I think. Are we on Twitch? We're on Twitch.
I think so.
We're live. We're just live. We're live wherever you get videos on the internet, pretty much. Jared Dubois.
When I hear Twitch, sometimes you have no motocross like background, do you? Have you ever been on a dirt bike? Have you ever been on a dirt bike in your life?
Have I been on a dirt bike? I've been on a four-wheeler. Have I been on a dirt bike? I've probably never been on a dirt bike. I did watch like the dirt bike movies in the 80s, though. I definitely saw those. There was some dirt bike movie that I really liked.
Oh, like BMX Bandits? Oh, never mind. Never mind.
No, this wasn't a BMX movie. This was a dirt bike. This was a motocross movie.
No, Rad was bike as well.
Was it?
Rad was a bike.
Now somebody in the chat's going to have, and this is a specific age thing, somebody in the chat's going to have to go find the motocross movie from the 80s that I'm thinking of right now.
The only serious injury I ever had in my life was motocrossing. Well, I'm serious. I separated my shoulder. I mean, it's not like it was life or death, but
I did that's that the most serious thing I've ever had. And football. Yeah. Okay.
Like fully separated?
You mean separated like dislocated?
No, like things. Separated, like tore the tendon between the clavicle and my shoulder.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did it twice in high school. It was bad.
Same shoulder?
Yes.
It's the reason I can't get the distance shoulder. I want in disc golf these days.
But my left shoulder, not my right shoulder. My right arm's still strong. I'm still good over here. I'm still good.
That's when you work out in the bathroom, huh?
Maybe it's a separated shoulder issue. Maybe it's a ligament issue for Lionel Messi, Jared, who is broken. Did we break Lionel Messi? Is it hamstring?
I didn't do anything.
Well, I say we. I mean, shouldn't we take the responsibility? We are custodians of Messi now as Americans.
I don't think if he wins, the trophy goes to my house ever. So no.
But don't you think that's the vibe? Don't you think that's the dynamic? Like the Europeans, where Messi played forever for Barcelona and was the global star, and South Americans. I was going to say Argentinians specifically, because of course they have ownership of Messi on some level, but maybe South Americans in general are looking up at America going, you guys, you better take care of him because we're going to be really pissed if you break him.
I think the one thing that goes in our favor is that he didn't play in Atlanta on turf the week before. Like then you'd be really thinking like they just ran this dude out on turf. He's played so many games, but let's see what last night. Were they on turf last night or were they on grass last night?
No, they're playing at Fort Lauderdale last night. They're playing at Fort Lauderdale. They're on the...
And I believe no update today. It was just that they would evaluate him, right?
No, I mean, there was a tweet that was bouncing around in Spanish that basically said they were going to do tests to figure out what it was that was bothering him. Last night, Tata said, no Sunday. He is not playing on Sunday. And there is still an open question of whether or not he plays in the Open Cup final on Wednesday, which when he didn't play against Atlanta... When I think the sense was, and maybe they just weren't telling us, Jared, we don't know all the information. The sense was he was just tired. He was just kind of tuckered out. You know how your toddler gets to that point where he can barely stand up. They're staying awake, but they can barely stand up.
Played a lot of games, man.
I'm not saying he didn't. What I'm saying is the story we were kind of getting was that he is tired. He was tired in Argentina. He was tired in Bolivia and didn't play. He came back and he was tired. He was so tired he needed to eat some Argentine pizza while he was in Miami. And then
that's a thing.
Did you see the pizza?
No. Oh, is that really ugly looking one I saw people passing pictures around of? I don't know why it was going around.
That was on Lionel Messi's Instagram post.
It was like full-on slices of tomato, like Roma tomato.
Full-on slices of tomato. Now
that's Argentinian pizza. That's a thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I was not necessarily up to speed. There are a lot of these places in Puerto Rico, so I have seen this, but I'm not necessarily an expert. And, far be it from us to promote other soccer content, because I'm pretty sure we're the only ones that do this. There's nobody else does this, right? Except for my radio show. Except for my which you know about, right?
That's not this, though.
But you know about my radio show. You know about it.
You won't stop talking about it.
WNBC.
What I was going to say is far be it for me to promote other content, but over on Morning Footy, they did a whole breakdown, Alexis Guerrero's. And if you've ever spent any time with Alexis, this is all the man talk. He talks about Arsenal and he talks about pizza. That's the two things that Alexis Guerrero's talks about. And he did a whole breakdown with a slide. He did a PowerPoint presentation about this pizza and where it comes from and what it is and influences and all kinds of things. I'm not saying I would have eaten it. Even Alexis was like, yes, this is a legitimate form of pizza, but this isn't a good-looking version of that form of pizza.
If you eat that might be the problem. Like, you put that in your body.
Is that what happened? He ate, and then 37 minutes into that game last night, he was like, no, I got to get off. DeAndre, come get the armband. Because that's what happened.
But you know what, though? Are you surprised that they're playing Toronto, but 4-0, no Messi?
No, I'm not. Not with Toronto
when he went out. Was it 1-0 when he went out?
I believe they had gotten a goal from Farias before he. No, maybe not. I don't have.
I'm bringing it up right now. I don't have it right now.
So Messi went out By the way, Jordi Alba went out 2 minutes before Messi did. So you had Alba go out, then you had Messi go out. And
looks like it was 0-0 at that time.
Yeah, it was 0-0. And Messi did look terrible. He didn't do anything. His touch was bad. He wasn't there was at one point when I can't remember who it was. Somebody looked up to make a pass to Messi. It wasn't Busquets. It was one of the regular Joes that he plays with now.
The mortals.
One of the mortals. And he looked up, and you have seen Messi make this sort of 35, 40-yard run out of midfield 1,000 times in his career. And he had the space. He was between the center backs. He had room to do something if he could get on the end of this ball. And this player was like looked up and they played the pass, and Messi just wasn't anywhere near it. And you could tell that something was wrong with him. And
this is the problem with MLS and when you add big name players in our windows. Our windows are often on the back end of they've already played a season.
Yeah.
They didn't get a true off season. A lot of times they're playing international stuff in the summer. Messi didn't have the breaks that a guy at 36 years old. 36, is that what he is?
36, 37. Yeah, 30, whatever that is.
That age needs,
Yeah, I mean, sure. I also think that I have another theory.
What's that?
And this is going to bring up some very painful stuff for you. So I just want to prepare you. Like, this may be a little trigger-ish for Jared Dubois. I think that Lionel Messi hurt himself by shaving off his beard. I don't know why you would do that. He had a
beard?
Doesn't look right. He was rocking a beard when he got here. I'm not saying like a full
That's not what I'm looking at when I'm watching Messi, man. I'm watching the feet. I had no idea he even had a beard or when he came off.
You didn't even know that the man was wearing facial hair when he got here, and then he shaved it off.
He's not the kind of guy you think of as the handsome man. He's a good looking man, but it's like if there's certain guys I check out, and he ain't one of them.
But this
I'm
is
watching his feet, man.
It's not nothing to do with like attractiveness or anything. It's literally just the fact that he had a beard.
I just thought of a game sometime, and I'm going to say random MLS players, and you're going to tell me if they have facial hair or no facial hair, just off your memory.
Well, but look, that can change. So I don't know that that's fair. I'm saying Lionel Messi,
you have
most
a daily
famous
show. You know these things. Certainly, you're plugged in enough.
I keep track of the facial hair game. Is that because I have facial hair? You think there's some sort of fraternity among us that we have a list? If you shave off your beard, you get kicked out of the beard guy club, and you don't get your
someone who also
your
rocks
privileges?
a beard on his face. I thought maybe these things are personal to you. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think that's weird.
You're so attached to it, you wouldn't shave it on a bet.
I am attached to it. I do think of it as part of my identity. I won't lie about that. But I am not one of those I'm not one of those guys who thinks of themselves as a beard. Like that's. It's important to the way I look, but it's not like
you don't
I'm a
have
beard
the oils.
guy.
You don't massage oils.
You know how you had that thing with the Jeep where you guys do the weird bruh, I got a Jeep, bruh. I got a Jeep, bruh. You got a Jeep, bruh. I got a Jeep, bruh.
I don't know. You're deflecting on me. You got all personal.
Beard guys don't do
deflect onto me. No, you know what beard guys do? They storm the Capitol. So welcome to that club.
Okay, that's not.
Wait,
I don't like that.
Do you or do you not rub oils into your face?
No, I do have. I not consistent with this, but I do use something called beard butter. I can't lie about that. I do have a beard butter. What happened? The fact
that you said the word beard butter and it's been on your face.
It's what it's called. What am I going to tell you? It's not called beard butter.
Tell me that someone didn't have a better name than beard butter.
I don't think this is
and even if it was, I would call it something else myself.
They do have beard oil. They do have stuff to like help grow your beard. They do, there's conditioner, the shampoo and conditioner that you can get for just your beard. I've had those things. But once upon a time, we had sponsors who would send us stuff, and I got stuff through relationships from the Best Soccer Show and Soccer Morning. Yeah, what you did? What you burned it in the backyard?
I said I tried it on, but I didn't.
Did you lie?
Oh, absolutely. I'll go commando. You ain't putting that stuff. You're not putting me on a leash.
Yeah. So I've had some products, but I've never. In fact, I set up an Amazon subscription for this beard butter. I don't know why I did it, because I was going to save, $1 off or something. And I don't use it enough that I needed one a month later. And they sent me another one. I was like, whoa. I have entirely too much beard butter in my house. Like, I don't need this much. This seems inappropriate, this level of beard butter in my house.
So what you're saying is that Messi is a facial Samson.
Oh, I'm saying, is that what I'm
shaved
saying?
His beard and his powers went with him.
Sure. It's interesting that you're bringing up something biblical when you have absolutely no
things. I know things.
Did you go to Sunday school? Did they make you go to Sunday school?
Huh?
No? Did they make you go to Sunday school?
Oh, I've been to a Sunday school. I think I went once. I was like, this is a crock. I ain't going back to this.
Okay. I'm actually going to show you a picture so that you can maybe, I don't know, think about, and I don't have a before picture. I just have the after. Think about what Messi's looked like since he got here and was winning all those games and winning a Leagues Cup and all of that.
God.
This is what he looked like last night. That's what he looked like last night.
That looks like a guy that's about to get injured. He's got Hobbit look there. I'm not going to lie. Not a good picture of Messi there.
What does that mean? Hobbit look.
I don't know, dude. It just got a Hobbitness to it. I don't know.
So hold on.
Hairy feet. That's what I'm saying. Have you seen Lord of the Rings? Is that even something you watched?
Yeah, I've seen it. I haven't read it.
Sometimes you're weird on the geek scale. Like there's things you've watched and there's things that you were completely like no knowledge.
We spent part of the bonus show last week talking about nerdy Mars colonization sci-fi.
True.
So don't come at me.
Get that on the Patreon if you like, guys.
If you guys want to hear Jared's recommendation on the book that he read, go over to the Patreon and sign up for the bonus show. Actually, you did inspire me.
I guarantee you, I have ingested more literary works in this year than you have. I guarantee.
Oh, absolutely.
You that.
Oh no, I'm not denying that. I'm not going to pretend
I take them through like a colonic like version of it. You know, like.
So you get in your car and you turn on the audio equivalent of a book being shoved up your ass? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. An ear colonic.
That doesn't sound right. So Messi is hurt. He's going to miss Sunday. He might miss the Open Cup final. We'll see if they rush him back for that.
What do you put in that? 50-50? I don't think he plays in the Open Cup.
For the Open Cup final?
I don't think he plays in the final.
I think it's probably 30% chance he plays. And if he plays, he'll be off the bench. He's not going to start.
Here's the thing that I think what comes down to for me is, what does Tata Martino prioritize? Is a one-off 90-minute shot at silverware worth the chance and looking like a longer shot every time of the day of making the playoffs and going to MLS Cup?
But this is what I wanted to get to. First of all, that's kind of such a setup, right? Put Messi on the field if he's 80% ready to play. Put him on the field, start him against Houston, maybe win a second trophy. Okay, that's a success, but risk the regular season and the chance of the playoffs, or keep him out of the Open Cup, potentially lose that Open Cup final, right? Which would be an achievement, and let's not pretend like it's nothing, and then maybe give yourself a slightly better chance of making the playoffs in the regular season, Jared. If you're Tata Martino, number one, you got that incredible, sexy Spanish accent, but number two, what are you doing?
One potentially sacrifices your golden idol. Like putting Messi back out on next Wednesday potentially means you lose him for this season.
I'm going to say something real quick because this had come up a couple times in the chat. KY718, Open Cup puts them in the Champions League. I think they'll go for that. Two things, and this is not me picking, but just to be pedantic. One, it's called the Champions Cup. I changed it. I don't want to get into whys. I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Number two, they're already in from the League Cup. They've already got a spot from winning the League Cup championship. So they don't need the Open Cup to get into the Champions League or the Champions Cup. This is all about just having another trophy to put in the trophy case.
Mm-hmm. It keeps the chance of a treble alive, and the storyline of a Messi 4-month treble is pretty insane.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane. You know, that is next level stuff. So
yeah.
If I would talk to Martino, I think he dresses, but man, I don't think he starts, man. I don't think he plays. I don't think he plays.
I think
you put him in mothballs, and this team just won 4-0 without him. You still have Sergio Busquets. Kermansky's been on fire. Robert Taylor's on fire. Like, there's guys out there that can still do things on this team. And I don't remember who they're playing. Is it Charlotte? Who are they playing?
Houston. They're playing Houston.
Who's been playing some fantastic ball lately.
They're playing. Yeah, they're unbeaten in 7 across all comps. Houston. Orlando is who they play on Sunday. That is a tough game in Orlando. Yeah. Orlando's playing really good soccer right now too, or looks like a real threat in the Eastern Conference.
You may even rest Busquets there. He may rest Busquets in that game to make sure that he's good to go. I mean, you're down 2 of your star Barcelona players potentially. We don't know what the issue is with Jordi Alba, who left the game early as well.
Right,
man. Do you really? Man, that's throwing a lot of caution to the window, sitting Busquets. But you kind of need to rely on him in that game in midweek.
I don't like the idea of being scared. If it's simply he's not fit enough, right? Like if it's he failed a fitness test or he feels discomfort, he is, as you said, the golden goose, the golden calf, the star of the show, the center of the universe, everything. You know, he's everything for Inter Miami. So you protect him because while it'd be nice to win another trophy this season and maybe go for an MLS Cup, depending on how his fitness is going into the rest of the schedule, you want him there to start the season next year, right? You want to start the season. You've already got a trophy because Lionel Messi showed up and took you to a Leagues Cup title. You don't sacrifice him on the altar of these.
If Messi goes on ice rest of the season, is this season a success for Inter Miami?
Yeah, I think it still is. I mean, it's not as big a success as it could be, and I do think no matter what Don Garber says, they're going to be besides themselves at MLS HQ if he doesn't make the playoffs, if Inter Miami doesn't make the playoffs. Because they've lost out on that draw for their postseason. Think about how much of a boost it would be to have Lionel Messi playing in the postseason tournament for Major League Soccer in the first year of the Apple deal. He's already been huge for the Apple deal for MLS, playing Leagues Cup in MLS.
Pissed if he can't make that postseason.
I don't think they're pissed because he's already brought them so much juice. But I do think that they would be like, oh, that's an opportunity that we missed out on. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was interesting. We've been talking about this over the last few weeks because I gave you guys, I can't remember if it was in the bonus show or if it was on the regular show, you and Nick both the apparently they did an x-ray and found nothing physically wrong with him. That's what D-Life is telling us. Unconfirmed, but that's what's being said. We've been tracking this for a few weeks, and I made you guys go and pick your poison with you and Nick about who would you take, Miami, which was 9 points back, or Galaxy, which were 5 points back to make the playoffs. You both took Miami. I took Galaxy with the points. They're both still 5 points off right now.
They're both
potentially going to make that
serious danger of missing.
Is it 31 game season or 33 game season this year? What is it?
34 game season,
34?
like it's been for a long time. So
I don't know, man. They change shit all the time in this league. I don't know. What's the playoff structure? There is like best of 8. I don't know. What is it?
Are you ready? It's a 1 game playoff between 8 and 9, and then once you have your 8 set, then you are 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, and so forth in a 3-game series in the first round. Subsequent to that, one-off, winner takes all, winner moves on matches, knockout style soccer. So
Apple has too much power.
So
Apple has too much power.
Well, that's true outside of soccer. I mean, that's true outside of Major League Soccer. Apple just has too much power. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be weird. I don't like it. But as we get closer to the playoffs, we're talking about it. The Galaxy being in 13th, the Galaxy being 5 points off a playoff spot. Again, even more than the number of points, because things are compressed enough in both conferences, although especially in the West, that you can kind of see it happening. You can imagine it happening. It's the number of teams that they each have to jump over in order to get there, right? It's one thing for the Galaxy to be 5 points off a playoff spot. It's another thing to beat out Austin, Sporting, Minnesota, and FC Dallas to get there. And for Inter Miami, they've got to jump over Charlotte, Chicago, NYCFC, and DC United, or whoever is in ninth place, right?
The Galaxy does have 1 to 2 games in hand on most of those teams. Miami has
one game in hand. Well. It depends on the club, but yeah, they got 2 on DC United. But the thing about that is it's great that you have those extra games, but it's just there's nothing guaranteed here. And Miami has a couple of kind of not guaranteed victories, but games you would say, okay, I favor Miami in those games. But they've also got Orlando City again coming up this Sunday without Messi, without Alba. They've got NYCFC, who isn't great. They should beat that team at home. I think this is after the Open Cup final, and remember, it's a game every 3 days over the course of the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks for them.
Yeah,
it's
where the Galaxy has Austin up next, and so like a little bit easier competition, and Portland, which is someone that's just barely above the playoff line. And the reason we're talking about these two teams is because they're the two teams that are probably they're on good streaks, both of them right now. I mean, the Galaxy is probably way more crazy in what they're doing. Like it's not like it's who wants to go down 3-1 to come back 4-3.
Your team is a messy bitch. Your team is a messy bitch. I love it though.
You know how many people were missing? The injuries are ridiculous out there.
I know. And Jalen Neal just went down with a sports hernia. You guys are just so. It's wild. It's. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good metaphor, a good analogy for what the Galaxy are like. I mean, you guys are like I don't know. It should be like the Skid Row Galaxy or something. It's just crazy drama, like pulling players off they're doing Billy Sharp was doing nothing. The man was doing nothing. You got him pulled in. He's scored.
Not true. He knocked out Wrexham out of the FA Cup last year.
I mean, that was last year. I'm talking about before they signed. The only reason the Galaxy were able to sign Billy Sharp because he was out of contract before the window closed, and he was still sitting around. And they were like, "Hey, let's go get that guy." And here he is knocking goals in for you. It's just it's dumb. It's dumb. And you've got the best in terms of pure skill. And I respect. I mean, outside of Lionel Messi.
Yeah,
in terms of in terms of pure skill, you're the best player in the league.
Absolutely.
You're the best player in the league. But it's not you.
And then you lose the best compliment to him in Brugman. Douglas Costa can't get on the field right now. I mean, Chicharito. Like it's just Carceres. Like it's crazy. But anyway, back to Mr. Messi. I say he doesn't play. I don't think he's playing. He's out for about. I say he misses at least next two MLS games as well, and they try to get him back. Rely on the team to try to make a push without him. I think Orlando, that's gonna be a tough one. I think maybe you just take the draw if you can there, get 1 point out of it, and then
I don't think they're capable of doing that though. I don't think. First of all, I don't think Tata wants to do it. Second of all, I don't think they're capable of like packing it in, parking the bus, and trying to get a point in Orlando. I just don't think they. I don't think they have the capability. So they kind of got to play their own way. They got to play, this Miami soccer that has happened since Messi's arrival, but is wide open and chaotic in its own way. So I don't think he's going to play. I think they'll probably lose against Orlando, and that may be the game, the moment. And there is a point being made in the chat that they play a lot of the teams they're trying to pass in the standings, and that's fair. Charlotte, NYCFC, etc. They got 2 against Charlotte to close the year because a game got moved because of the Leagues Cup. I just don't know. That might be the moment to say, let's shut her down, or let's be very careful with Lionel Messi because we want him to be healthy again next season. You don't want to burn him out in 4 months and then say, well, we could have had a whole nother year. And they remember that they want to open that stadium in 2025 with Lionel Messi on the field playing for Inter Miami.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a long way to go. I want to take an opportunity here. Let's pause a little bit. This is a chance right here, kind of at the top of the show, to ask people to go and support us through comments, reviews, things like that. If you haven't subscribed to the show on YouTube, that's a thing you can do.
Right.
If you haven't live, if you're already watching on YouTube, just hit the button. Just do it and like the video too, right? And then we would love for you to do a review on Apple Podcasts and give us a chance of popping up in people's feeds again, because I think
we're 0.03 away from 2,000 subscribers right here on
YouTube. We are very close to 2,000 subscribers. That would be a cool number to get to. I think I'd like to get to, let's just put a round number on it. 300 reviews. I think we're in the 250s. And I know back in the day, the old feed, the old Best Soccer Show, Jared, we were like 1,000, right?
It was a lot. Yeah.
We did pretty well. And I know this is the way that people find you, is you push the reviews, people jump in there, they see it, it pops up on their feeds, it's right next to the Cooligans, or I don't know, whatever. Is there another good soccer podcast? Are you aware of any? Total Soccer Show. I'll say Total Soccer Show because
Open wide for some soccer. Russian football today.
Man, I feel like I should pour some out for Open Wide for some soccer. But anyway, Total Soccer Show is a good one. We love Taylor and the crew over there. Of course we do. We got a relationship that goes way back. I was just on the Total
Seeing
Soccer
Red.
Show.
I'll give Fishkin a shout.
Seeing Red. That's a good one. That's
always support Mark Fishkin.
Yeah, he's still out there, still doing that thing, Mark Fishkin. Ratings and reviews, help me out
He
with
might
that.
have one of the only shows that outdates us that's still around.
Well, we did take a hiatus, so he probably.
But I just even his start date. I think his start date was before us.
What is the oldest currently active soccer podcast?
That's
what do you think that
one,
is?
man. That's a tough
one. And I don't. Somebody's saying ESPN FC. Okay, no corporate, corporate massive. Private. I'm talking about. And with the same crew.
Are we older than Total Soccer Show?
I know your boy Guessman has been doing Corner of the Galaxy for a long time. I know he has. I think he passed a milestone at that. 10 years? 10 years?
I think that predates us. I think I was doing that before this, but I'm not sure.
With Guessman? I don't know. Are you sure?
Well, it was only Josh and I to start. Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm saying, was it before us? I don't think it was. Was it before us? Maybe it was.
It might be because I think I was on.
You were on there and then you jumped over.
Doing the Corner of the Galaxy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
They're really close though. But Seeing Red, man, I can't remember what predates us at this point. The Total Soccer Show, was that around before? Because they were on the radio.
They started right after us, but they were doing the radio show. In fact, if you want to, thank you, Jared. You set me up very nicely. If you want to hear Taylor, don't step on me. I'm doing a plug.
Oh.
If you want to hear Taylor Rockwell talk about the beginning of the Total Soccer Show and some other things, and talking about Daryl Grove and everything else, go check out One Shot on Frame on YouTube, which is the new show that I'm dropping. A couple of parts of my discussion with Taylor are there. Taylor's a great guy. We talk about his daughter and trying to pass soccer on to her, which is fascinating to me because I got a 2.5-year-old who's probably going to be either completely obsessed with soccer and it's going to drive me up a wall because of that, or I'm going to have to kind of like work to get him into it.
You think you'll coach? Will you coach?
I will not coach.
Why?
I will not coach.
Why?
I do not have the temperament for it. I don't think.
Do you have the temperament to watch it as a parent without being a dick?
I will have to relearn that skill. I will have to relearn that skill.
As if you had it once.
Well, at one point, my older son played briefly before
he played.
He played that's the debatable of whether that word applies.
Yeah.
He was playing 3v3, little goals, the whole thing. Yeah. He was very distracted. He had really no interest in the ball. He was just running around. I was a different person then. This was a very long time ago, and I got very upset at him for not focusing on the ball and trying to score goals or whatever. And then about 1 or 2 games into this, I was like, that's dumb. He's going to hate me for yelling. I hate myself for yelling.
And if we can be Old Dad FC for a minute, can we be Old Dad FC for a moment?
Always. Okay. Old Dad FC in the house.
So I was convinced last year that my kids, my career as a soccer parent was over. Like I coached almost every. Oh yeah. I coached every year. Yeah. My oldest had kind of transitioned to volleyball and found a very, very good. I think it's a great sport for him. I wanted to keep doing it. To be honest with you, my youngest was transitioning. He wants to play American football. He's doing that now. I thought I was out, and my kid all of a sudden wants to play, and we put him back in this season. And I can't tell you the leap he's had this year mentally, like getting the game. It's so cool to see when a kid makes that leap and starts getting it. Yeah, because last season it wasn't there at all. You know,
I mean, I've got a long way to go before I would get there. You know,
but he's starting to get it earlier than I got it. You know, in terms of that. But physically, I think still got some stuff to do. But it's very interesting this season because I chose not to coach this year. I was like, I'm not coaching this year. I think we need a break, our relationship wise, to take a break, not coach. And I think every parent probably goes through that at some point where like, am I the right person for my kid to coach?
Right.
But him playing my position, center defense, and he's like really kind of reading the field and stuff. And it's interesting to see that maturation point and what point he's hitting it. But it's fun.
So yeah, there's a discussion about passing soccer on to your kids with Taylor on One Shot on Frame. I'm like this close to 300 subscribers on that channel. So we want to get to 2,000 for the best soccer show. We want to get to 300.
Oh, I guess I should probably do that, huh?
You should subscribe to my show.
Should I do that right now while we're on the show?
If you actually
One Shot on Frame.
It really, dude, it took you this long to actually go. You live on YouTube. You're always talking about watching YouTube.
I did it.
Wow.
Okay. You got me, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
Wait, why
I
is Taylor
appreciate
wearing
that.
a suit?
That's just the picture I found of him to put on the
Who's he trying
on
to
the
fool?
thumbnail.
Who's he trying to fool?
Here's the thing about Taylor. He's
he a
not
maitre d'?
set up to do video the way that we've been doing video as part of this show since the very beginning. I mean, we started doing was Justin TV or I don't know, YouTube, wherever we were living at the time. Somebody actually brought up a video, put a screenshot or something. I don't know why it ended up in the Slack, but somebody put up a video from the early days in the Slack, and
it's because we were trying to find the origin of the Michael Roscoe Fiscal.
That's right. Somebody was talking about
Michael freaking Roscoe Fiscal.
Now, here's the thing. I have lost a lot of good drops, and they're in the ether, changing computers, all that stuff. But I somehow managed to make sure we still have Michael freaking Orozco Fiscal.
You know, and okay. I think one of the things that came up when that did in the Patreon was that you need to get Michael Roscoe Fiscal on One Shot on Frame.
I should do that. Yeah, I
mean, we should just Azteca picture.
We should just get him on this show. Period. Well, any show that we
just
do
to find
together.
out if he has the meta of like, is he aware that he is?
Was he aware that it happened? Yeah. Anyway, I look like a different person. I sound like a different person. Like, time is undefeated. I'm not saying that it's bad.
I had a different hair color.
I think I've matured in a good way, but you know, you are a different person.
There's a lot more crap behind you now.
I've collected some crap over the years, thanks to my soccer efforts.
Yeah,
so anyway, do all that
I'm full
stuff.
Of things I got for free as well, which is nothing.
Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow is where you get the extra stuff and the bonus shows and the bestie Slack and all kinds of things, discounts on merch and stuff like that. All right, so we talked about Messi. Maybe we broke him. I don't know if we're going to be paying any penalties for that as a country, if that's just something that happens in this game. The World Cup is coming in 2026. Now, I got two things about that tournament I want to talk to you about, Jared. I know one of them is very important to you as Angelino adjacent. You're not actually an Angelino, right? You're more like
I would never claim it. And the only time I would ever say I'm from LA is if I'm talking to someone at least 2,000 to 3,000 miles away from here.
Right. You wouldn't do it unless they just had no clue where your particular part of the world was, right? You could always do that thing. Like, I
would say Southern California. I would say Southern California.
The armpit of the LA region is like a good way to describe. I think that
it's like
that part of the
stick
country.
in here.
Two things. One, the Cronkies are beefing with FIFA, and they are apparently threatening to pull SoFi from the list of possible stadiums for the World Cup in 2026, and that is one of the venues that people have sort of identified as a potential final host for the 2026 World Cup. It's MetLife in Jersey, it's SoFi, and it's Jerry World in Texas. And by the way, Johnny Infantino was just at Jerry World for an American football game. So he's cozying up over there. That might be bad news for LA if they
figure out how to get more commercials in soccer
in the mix. I wonder if this is maybe that. Like, maybe, and the Cronkies are also NFL owners, right? They own the Rams. That's why they have SoFi. They built it when they moved the Rams out of St. Louis. They own a bunch of stuff. But what I'm saying is maybe they know Johnny was schmoozing with Jerry, and they got jealous, they got annoyed, and instead of saying, well, no, you should definitely pick LA. SoFi is better than AT&T or whatever, like actually making their case. No, we don't want you anyway. Your deal stinks. Get out of here.
I opened the link, and it's at The Athletic if you guys want to read it. And I'm sorry, I don't recall the name of the author on it, but
Adam Crafton.
It's on The Athletic if you guys want to check it out. I was expecting to see something like that because I knew Johnny Infantino had just been to Dallas, and I was expecting Kroenke to be mad because he potentially isn't going to get the final. Maybe that's a rumor or something like that. But the article really is more about the financial compensation that, now granted, that's the story. That's the story.
That's the story. Yeah.
The story is about
the story.
But when I started thinking about it more and more, it does make sense. Yeah. FIFA had the world financially given to them in Qatar. Qatar was happy to spend as much money as they wanted. They probably didn't want much in return. You know, FIFA probably got to have a huge payday down in Qatar because it was a tourism selling a 1-month tourism commercial for them.
This is about a specific place, but I do think that this theory applies. At one point, I was espousing the notion that it seemed as though the World Cup was going to end up only going to places that were either authoritarian governments where one guy, and think about Russia 2018, one guy gets to make all the decisions and everybody has to follow him because nobody else gets to say anything. It's not really a democracy, et cetera, et cetera. There's no real public outcry over stuff like this. Or places like Qatar, which you could argue is maybe authoritarian too, but is a place where the idea is we're so grateful the World Cup's coming, we'll happily eat all the shit that you want to give us. And Brazil, I think even Brazil back in 2014 fits into this too, because that's a soccer mad country. And if FIFA says we want to bring the World Cup to you, the government of Brazil is not going to be, well, hold on a second. Let's look at your deal. Are you really offering us good stuff here? Are you just going to take all the money out of the country?
I would argue it hasn't been since maybe Germany that the World Cup has been like it's going to be in LA. And let me phrase what I mean by that. Even if you go back to South Africa, as an infrastructure project sold as a World Cup, and without any long-term thought put into that infrastructure. The World Cup has been about everything, or it's been about air quotes, all these other things. It's about the beautiful game in Brazil. It's about infrastructure in South Africa. It's about exposing the world to the Muslim countries in Qatar. It's
bringing the beautiful game to the Middle East,
United States, where it was the most well-attended World Cup of all time. Yes. It's not about any of those things. If you're coming to LA, and here's Kroenke's point. You're coming here. We don't have to build 12 stadiums. Yeah. We don't have to do all this stuff. We're here for money.
SoFi is kind of not perfect for soccer. I don't know how willing they were. Some of this might also be part of the story here, right? The Kroenkes are like, how much is it going to cost us to move things around and take out seats so that we can fit a soccer field? But is it really worth it for us?
They expect a cut. What's our cut? We know what our worth is in the U.S. And these sports owners, more than maybe a lot of other countries, due to the amount of money in sports in the United States, they know what their worth is.
What you're talking about in this particular case, and I'd have to go look at the venue list and everything else, but you're talking about completely privately controlled venues, right? Now, I know that a lot of these places were built with public partnership and tax breaks and everything else, but that doesn't mean that the government of the city
get those revenues from the tourism that's coming for them.
I mean, you say that, right? And I know this is specifically about the stadium and the fees and how much the Kroenkes are going to get and FIFA and everything else, but this is why Vancouver was initially like, nah, bro, and this is why Chicago's not on the list, because their leadership, and I don't know that I love Rahm Emanuel, but he might have done this right, they were like, hey, wait a second, how much is this? How much are we getting out of it? You're saying that our benefit is tourism, all these people coming into our city, but we have to pay for all the security and we have to block out entire zones of our city during game days for all these things. Right. Those things cost the city money that they might not recoup immediately. It might be a boost to the economy, but in terms of the bottom line budget for the city, it's not great. It's not great at all. And I definitely live in this nebulous zone where I'm like, I want the World Cup in America. I want soccer to blow up here, and that's how we do it. And it'd be great to take my kid to a game, and I can't wait till 2026. And also, this is a raw friggin' deal.
Listen, I am no Kroenke lover. It took FIFA to get me to think Kroenke might be taking advantage of here, mate. And Stan Kroenke is a terrible team owner.
Oh man, that's the thing. Like choosing between FIFA and the Kroenkes,
it's bad,
man.
Somehow FIFA has a worse record.
That's what it's made for,
poison.
Right? Yeah, to pick your actual poison.
And here's the thing, and people may not know this about SoFi, and the people don't live around here. How much do you think it costs to park at SoFi?
Park. I don't even really know where that building is in LA, but I'm going to say
it's in Inglewood. It's not near downtown. It's next to the Forum where the Lakers play for number. It is in a area that's quickly being
gentrified.
Yeah. But it growing up like Inglewood, that's the hood back in the day.
Oh, I know. Go listen to 90s rap. There's a lot of mentions of Inglewood over there. Yeah, for sure. Long Beach, Inglewood. Yeah, we get it. I don't know. How much does it cost to park at SoFi?
I'm interested to know what you
to go to a game. Park at SoFi?
Yeah.
I'm going to say $100. I'll just say $100.
$100.
$100
to park your car.
I'm not sure that that's too different than most NFL stadiums these days, but it's a crap ton of money. Yeah, I don't think it's great. I don't think that's out of line with the other. It's bad. It's stupid, and it's definitely a cash grab on the part of the owners.
The difference about LA and other cities, though, is the mass transit option just really isn't here.
Yeah,
it's
if you don't own your own shopper to come in, you're pretty much screwed. You gotta sit in the traffic and pay.
My friends just went to Taylor Swift, $100. My wife's going to see Pink next month. She already looked up $100. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So $100, $100 to park.
And I'm still on Crunky's side.
And a couple $100 for your, well, I don't know how much, maybe $100 for your ticket, depending on where you are. But I was gonna say, like, to see Pink about this big, and with the music coming out of this,
I'm not that big before.
What? No. What? I don't.
Jay Rodius.
My question to you: first of all, do you think Crunky would ever truly pull out?
I'm just gonna let that hang for a second.
Yeah,
Probably not great for audio medium. Do I think he would actually say "F you FIFA" and pull LA? I mean, I think his leverage is not as great as he would like, in part because they could probably work something out with the Rose Bowl. I know it's a different location. I know it's not ideal from a technological standpoint, but it is a legacy. It is massive. They can sell 90,000 tickets. I'm going to say no. I think this is brinksmanship. I don't think he's really going to pull SoFi out of the running. It's too much of a cachet. It's too much of a thing to hang your hat on. SoFi hosted a World Cup final. He doesn't want to pull out.
What do you think a World Cup without Los Angeles looks like, though? Is that a failure if you don't take advantage of LA and there is no World Cup venue?
I mean, there's lots of great cities in this country, Jared. I think it's weird. It would feel weird, and honestly, I definitely think that there's like a large portion of the world, and probably a vast majority of people who the only thing they know about America is New York and LA. Or Miami now, I guess, because Messi's playing there, and maybe they knew Messi or Miami from other things. But that's it. That's what they know.
Will Smith.
So not to have games in Los Angeles would feel weird, but there are other places to play that are sort of just.
The other thing to keep in mind for Crunky
they're playing in New England. They're playing in Foxborough. That is ridiculous. Come on,
Bruce Arena can save that.
Ridiculous.
So one thing I keep in mind this too in terms of Kroenke is that this is a dry run for the Olympics for him as well in 2028.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, like me, I'm excited. That would be probably my first time ever in SoFi. Will be for the World Cup. I refuse to go there.
Are they going to use? You're talking about using SoFi for the opening ceremonies and all that stuff. There's no track.
A number of different events. I don't know what all they're using it for, but I did see that SoFi is part of the 2028 plans.
I would say this. This is about the New England thing. Don't do Boston like that. The games aren't in Boston. The games are not in Boston. If it was Boston, I'd say, oh, great, we're going to Boston. I love Boston. Play games in Boston. There's no stadium in Boston. That's not in Boston. Foxborough's not Boston. Don't come at me like that. Go ahead.
Well, I think the bigger issue is that it's craft and it's artificial turf and all the other things that come.
Well, they're gonna do something about that, right? This is why the NFL players are like, wait a second, you're gonna change all these surfaces for the World Cup, but you can't do it for us.
If the NFL Players Association gets together and gets behind that, how long before MLS has to change?
MLS changing what? The only reason MLS plays on any turf, okay, there are a couple places where that's not.
I'm just saying the NFL tends to set the tone from a player's position in the United States.
Yeah. Well, okay, there are some sort of. I know I'm not an expert on growing grass inside, and I know there are special lights that you can get and all those things.
Yeah, you put them in a closet and you line with foil.
Okay, I know there are special grow lights and all that stuff. It just seems crazy to me that we're saying like, oh yeah, you got to rip up the turf at Mercedes-Benz, and try to grow grass there, or I don't know. I mean, Foxborough obviously should have grass.
It's ridiculous that these stadiums get done with turf in the first place. It's everything about maximizing the profit and nothing about maximizing the health of the players.
Okay. I don't know that soccer. How do I say this? I think it's possible that there's going to be some technology that does a good enough job with the artificial stuff that it won't be this massive thing, grass versus turf. We're probably not there, right? There's been massive advancements in terms of artificial surfaces since the days of, the Philadelphia Eagles playing on concrete painted green at Veterans Stadium. Like, we've moved on from that and we've improved dramatically. And they have the little granules, how when you go out and play.
Yeah, the things that give you cancer because they're made from ground up tires. Yeah.
Well, that too. I know that that's a thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like technology's moved on to moved ahead to maybe help a little bit with the
moved on to
field.
where you can put the field on rollers and take it outside and give it sun. Okay, that exists.
You can't. There might not be space in some places to roll the.
There's parking lots that you pay $100 spot for. Put it there.
How do you get it? I know Phoenix did this with their stadium, like where they can slide it out. Who?
Tottenham, I believe, did with theirs.
Tottenham.
Well.
They have the space in London to just slide the grass out and then slide it back in.
I could have sworn that they did. I could have sworn that they did.
If that's look, it's not my money. And so if saying like, oh, we got to do grass and figure it out inside these domes.
Was it Burnbow or New Camp? The replacement is going to have the ones where it goes into sections underground and it does the lights underground, like it comes down in sections. You haven't seen
that's crazy. It's like a transformer grass situation.
Long strips and it goes underground and there's lights underground.
All right. Well, then now I'm on 100% on board with natural grass everywhere. And if the MLS, if the NFLPA rather pushes for it and forces the NFL to do something,
I'm in favor of trimming, just for the record.
You're in favor of what?
Trimming, landing strip, whatever you want. But I know you're in favor of natural grass. I think it needs to be well kept.
That's not is that the word? Is it kempt or kept?
I don't know.
Kept? Well kept. It is kept. That's the only radio we don't use that. When do we use the word kept in any other context? I know you're not just running around saying, "Oh, that's poorly kept." I can't believe how.
Kept? Now you got me figured off.
I think you're right. I think it's kept. I think it is kept. All right, the other thing about the World Cup I want to get to before we talk about some events of this evening and this weekend. How hot is it going to be? Like it's something that I'll admit that I haven't really thought too much about because I'm just excited for the World Cup to be here. But they just moved a World Cup out of the summer to the winter because it's too damn hot to play soccer in the summer in Qatar. And it's not that much cooler here. In fact, we got a lot of places where the games are going to be happening.
First of all, you're asking a guy that's biased.
Hotter.
You're asking a guy that growing up played 2 to 3 tournament games on the weekends in 100-degree heat in California. I survived.
That's not good, though. That's bad, Jerry.
Also, I'm a guy who sat in 1994 and 1999 in that Rose Bowl in the summer. And it was hot as shit. But I'm all right, and I was okay with it.
Cooled off by that Marcelo Balboa overhead kick attempts ago. The wind from Marcelo's kick.
It came right at me.
Right into your face. You're like Fabio with your hair.
And then in 99, like when Chastain's shirt whipped around, the wind hit me in the face.
I just look again.
I'm not worried about it.
Yes, we played in heat. Yes, Major League Soccer plays through that heat. You really think that's ideal?
Somehow Valderrama's afro still was nice in that heat. If his afro could stay up, then there's no reason why we can't play games.
But hold on, wait.
It's not like it's sagged.
I don't think you understand how afros work.
Oh, how's that?
Like I don't think you understand how this works. Now I don't
dry heat, so it was okay.
I don't have the hair. Okay, I don't have it. Maybe you're talking LA heat. I don't know. Maybe there is like a sweat drooping situation. All I know is that my beautiful wife, who grew up on the island of Puerto Rico, she moved to the United States, moved to the mainland more than a decade ago. Her hair is largely straight when she's here. I mean, she treats it. She does not treats it. She prepares her. How do you say that? She does her hair, whatever. She's blow drying it. She's combing it. It's mostly straight. The second we get off the plane in Puerto Rico and walk out that door of that airport where the air conditioner no longer applies, poof, it all just kind of goes up. No, I mean, up, the curls
so you're
pop.
Sleeping with Valderrama in Puerto Rico.
I'm just saying, it's not that far off. No, it's not that far off. No.
I'm not too worried about it. I exist here. I'm fine with it. Listen, things that we do now that we didn't do in 94, water breaks. You know,
that's true.
There's things out there, and some of these stadiums will be indoors, like SoFi. You know, where you don't.
We're going to probably hear about some technology. They're going to. I think Victor Battagliani was
they're going to put clouds over the stadiums in the U.S.
We're going to work that out. We're going to figure beyond the heat.
By the way, is that the jetpack thing that we were promised that never came through? Like that's the jetpack moment. We got no clouds.
There was a World Cup bidding process where Japan was like, we'll host the games, but we'll 3D beam them into other stadiums around the world, and people can come and watch the games in their home countries. And we're going to have like 3D holograms playing soccer. And I was like, no, you don't have. Don't tell me the hoverboard from Back to the Future 2 actually exists, because I'm not a sucker like that anymore. I'm not 8 years old. That's all I'm saying.
The lace-up shoes do, though.
That's the little like the
auto lacing ones that
they do.
They made it special for the anniversary.
Okay.
Nike did.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. The other thing, weather-wise or climate-wise, or however you want to describe it, and this is something that you didn't play in, and certainly we all dealt with this summer, is smoke. So if there's more wildfires, if that's a thing, then that's something that is much more difficult to deal with in the heat.
Yeah, that's pretty rough, especially with 2 games up in Canada. I know my mom just canceled a flight up to the Bay Area this weekend because the air quality is going to be too bad from the wildfires that are going on in Oregon. You're right. That it's a large concern for not just the World Cup, but just in general. So, by that rationale, Mexico City smog is also an issue. You know, like there's things out there.
Yeah. Okay. I suppose that's a fair point. Are they playing? They're not playing in Mexico City. They're playing in Guadalajara. I thought it was Guadalajara and Monterrey. Just 2.
That was Mexico City as well. I could have sworn that article today, the one we referenced.
Maybe you're right. I mean, it would be weird not to play games at the Azteca. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Well, I don't know. It's weird. Okay, so that's the World Cup 2026 issues. Let me go back up in our chat and pull this up. This is from our good friend Morgan Tensa, who left us to move to Jacksonville. Jared, she lives in Jacksonville now.
It's Florida. I couldn't tell you where any of those places are.
Yeah,
I had to look up the other day. The other day I had to look up because I saw that Messi's living in, was it Tampa Bay or Tallahassee? I don't know where he's at.
What?
I don't know where he lives. He doesn't live in Miami, though. He doesn't live in
Fort
Miami.
Lauderdale. He bought a multi-million-dollar house.
I had to look up where that was. I was like, how far from Miami is that? I have no idea.
Wait, hold on. You are aware that they play in Fort Lauderdale, right? And their stadium is in Fort Lauderdale, right?
You're aware of Miami, right?
Yes, but that's the thing. This is why everybody was kind of taking a bat to them.
I had to look up where those places were. I don't know where those places are. They're somewhere. So if that's a shaft, it's on the top edge of the head.
No.
Yeah, it is.
You mean top edge?
Yes, right where the
You're saying
connects.
It's in the hang down.
The moils, where the moil like touches right there, like where he cuts. That's where it's
You're
at.
an expert on a moil now. Wait.
I know
you know exactly how that works. The moil situation.
I watched it happen on my kid.
I feel like this is borderline dangerous for us. Like, you're now okay.
But if that's a shaft, right where the head would connect, that's where Messi lives.
I don't want you to say the words head and connect in that context anymore. Just
damn, dog.
Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Okay. Fort Lauderdale is 45 minutes north of Miami. Miami's all the way down at the proverbial tip. The tip, I guess, is what you're going to be talking about.
Spout.
All right. Jacksonville is basically at the base, but on the Atlantic side.
The side you measure from. Oh, no, that side you don't measure from. Okay.
You measure from the other side, you measure from that side?
You measure from the other side, you get extra inch. You haven't heard that?
From the underside. You're saying the underside is where you measure.
From the Tampa Bay side? Is that correct?
No. Yes, but Tampa but Tampa Bay is, you would want to measure before you would want to start measuring before Tampa Bay, not after, not at Tampa Bay.
Up by the bayou.
I think this is getting really getting, I think now that I think about it, my dad lives in Pensacola, which I guess is like the scrotum, the scrotum of Florida.
I thought that was Texas.
Oh, Texas is? Or at Louisiana. You got Louisiana. Alabama and Louisiana right there, also on the coast. So Mississippi, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana.
I apologize. You were transitioning to Florida, and Morgan's question did not deserve this line of topic.
No, this is what I'm saying. I was trying to bring up Julie Ertz and Megan Rapinoe, who are retiring their final games of this in this window. Julie Ertz just played her final minutes. She's done. It's already over. She tipped her cap and she stepped off the field. You think she comes back?
You don't think come May, where like she's had this 6-month break and the Olympics are just around the corner?
Well, actually, I did have this thought today. So I was listening to Julie Ertz talk to Heather O'Reilly and Lori Lindsay radio thing. I'm not going to mention it again. I've already got my plug in. But I'm listening to her talk about her choice. I read some comments, all of that. And I'm thinking, your kid's like 1 year old. Her kid's basically like 1 year old. Wait until he's 2.5 and then tell me you don't want to go back to working. Just wait. Because I love my kid. My kid is brilliant. He is awesome. I got misty-eyed. I watched Arrival last night for reasons I can't get into. I don't even understand them myself. But I watched Arrival last night and I got misty-eyed because that movie has a child relationship in it. And I was thinking about my kid, how much I love him. And then, I get up this morning and he refuses to brush his teeth and he's yelling at me, "No, Papa, no." And I'm like, "All right, get out of here, kid. Get to daycare. I'm done with you. I have to go to work. Julie Ertz is going to pass up on the opportunity to sit there and get off to daycare. Maybe she will, even if she's not playing.
I don't know. I'm just
Maybe
saying, as a competitor and as someone, we saw it this year with the World Cup. When the World Cup came around, Julie Ertz had that tingle,
the itch.
Maybe she's done. Maybe it's over. Maybe she feels good about it.
Once a competitor, always a competitor.
As a competitor, do you think she's happy with the way her national team career finished in that World Cup?
No, but I don't think.
I think it'll be better at the Olympics, though.
Look, this is going to come off harsh, and I am a massive Julie Ertz fan. I am, right? Going all the way back, 2015, emerging as one of the best center backs in the world, 2019, just ruling that midfield for the U.S. I'm a big fan. But I've definitely had that thought of, oh, so you just play when it's convenient for you. Like, oh, you just show back up when you suddenly decide you want to be part of a World Cup team.
In fairness, she did it once.
And you slide right into that team. Now, look, this is also a credit to her talent and to her commitment to her physical fitness, which she definitely worked on going into the World Cup period. So, I'm not trying to take anything away, but there is something to that.
In what way is she more or less selfish than Landon Donovan?
I don't. Man, that is tough because I don't think of Landon's decision as selfish, but I can understand why the program and Klinsmann and maybe teammates of his were like, nah, bro, we don't like anything that you just did. And no, you can't come back. Like, I get it, but I don't think of Landon's decision as selfish because I'm keenly aware that mental health thing is super important. And if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to be worthless no matter what you do.
Yeah, I think also you penalize her for having a kid is not necessarily fair. Landon Donovan wanted to go smoke some weed in Cambodia and find himself.
Wait, how do you know he did that? You don't know he did that. All right. I don't in a lot of places nowadays.
I'm very hypersensitive to not wanting to penalize a woman who wants to be a mother. Women's sports are just different in that way.
Well, what do you mean by penalize? She's free to do whatever she wants, right?
Sure. I'm sure comparing her absence with Landon Donovan's, which is just to this day don't necessarily understand, other than you need to take a mental break.
Yeah, but that's valid, right? It's valid for him to take a break. Again, I can understand within the context of the collective team that might not go over well, and he's going to have to do something or whatever. Maybe if Landon Donovan wasn't a star, it wouldn't have never been a question. If a guy who was kind of a fringe player or a part-timer or had played some games for the national team and maybe was going to be in contention for a World Cup in 2010 was like, I got to take a mental health break, I can't play for a year, he'd get dropped, and that would be the end of it, and nobody would ask any questions. He would just be done. But because he's Landon Donovan, all-time assist leader in world football, by the way, in international football, then you do have that question, and it does get a little bit more complicated. And
by the way, how did we get 5 years past his retirement before any of us knew
I know, right?
The USA had the all-time assist leader in international football?
No idea. It's so weird because we are the first people to crow about anything an American has done in this game because we're so desperate.
5 years. We've been talking
we're
5
so
years,
desperate.
4 years maybe because Dempsey. We've been comparing Dempsey and Donovan as who's the best all-time U.S. men's national team player because they're even on goals, but Dempsey did more in Europe. Literally, the moment I saw that, I said, "Oh, it's not a debate now." Once I knew that, it's like,
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I mean,
you don't think that puts him a level above Clint Dempsey?
I think that, and you know how I do. Like, I'm overthinking it. I'll admit to that. But I think Donovan's the greatest national team player of all time.
Fair.
And I think Clint Dempsey's the greatest American soccer player of all time.
For now. Pulisic's going to beat him.
Yeah, for now. Pulisic could pass him. There's a couple guys that are in this current group that could pass him at some point. And probably, and this is the thing about Christian Pulisic, by the way, who did get on the field in that AC Milan draw with Newcastle, which was like, Rafael Leao tripping over himself. Dude, incredible talent.
He did before that? Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if Christian Pulisic did that exact same move, roasted around the world, right? Everybody would be taking their shots. Sure. And maybe people took shots at Leao.
I saw
saw this big, long column in Italy in Italian that I translated through Google Translate that was comparing Leao.
How racist was it?
It wasn't that. It was actually kind of positive. It was like, hopefully Leao can use this as a learning experience to figure himself out. Like, is he Mbappe or is he, that kind of thing? Because he's obviously incredibly talented. But if in terms of Christian Pulisic and his future as both a national teamer and, doing things that no American has done before on the club stage, we probably will get to a point where Christian Pulisic is the greatest American player of all time. But I think the context has changed around that conversation. And it's going to be, what? What'd you say?
Male player of all time.
Okay, male. Fair enough. I think the context around the greatest male player has changed. And now we're going to be like, yeah, but he didn't do this. He didn't do that. He could have been better. He failed at Chelsea. Well, we're going to find all of those things to point. And people do that with Donovan, I guess.
By the way, I'm totally taking this off the rails, but whatever. I don't care. My show too. Is Mia Hamm still the best all-time?
You act like we have rails. Rails around here. Rails.
Is Mia Hamm still the greatest female footballer of all time? Does the distance and the time she played in make any difference now?
Wait, when you say greatest player, you mean of all time across the globe?
US,
American.
Okay. That's all I'm talking about. American. I mean, it's pretty much the same conversation, for being honest. Marta maybe is in the conversation, but
yeah, longevity and stuff matters, I guess. I mean, Christine Sinclair probably has a shout, I would say, based on her goal scoring.
You think at any point Christine Sinclair was a better player than Mia Hamm or a number of U.S. players? She's done it.
Man.
She's put in goals, but she was never a better player technically.
Well, now you're getting to a conversation about counting stats versus like actual ability. Like how good are you relative to how?
That was the great thing about Mia Hamm. She had both.
Yeah,
if you suppose make the top 4 U.S. women have a conversation about, it's Mia Hamm.
Okay, it's Mia Hamm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I would put Julie Ertz in there, but it's hard because when she's a different position, it makes it a hard conversation to have.
Yeah, fair.
I would put Christine Lilly in there.
Okay.
But of people who played the same time, Christine Lilly and Mia Hamm, I can't put Christine Lilly above Mia Hamm.
Well, there's also a massive name you're missing,
and I think Abby Wambach is the other one.
Okay, well that's not the name I was thinking of.
Oh, so you're gonna go with my girl with the hair.
I'm going to go back, but this is the thing. Again, the time, the era, the game, so many different things. And people will tell you, people who play with her will tell you that Michelle Akers was a beast.
Probably
all
my
over the field,
player of all time. To be
all over the field, not just. And this is something that, again, I definitely think this is a function of the women's game not having a chance to have matured to a certain point. Yep. But we've got a lot of players who have been great players in multiple positions. And
it's the same conversation you have when you talk about Pele and Maradona when you compare to Messi and Ronaldo.
Absolutely.
It's a different time period.
Absolutely. I can tell you I'm pretty comfortable in saying that the thing that we can't know is how Pele would have fared in a team full of world-class players. He didn't have that at Santos. He might have at Brazil in the World Cup and those kind of things. And he did miss a World Cup because of injury. And there's something. Obviously. Well, great players, but aging players, and playing against terrible competition relative to what he had played against before. So we can't know if Pele stacks up to Messi. If you put Pele in Barcelona 2012, what does it look like?
Well, Maradona did go to Europe.
He did, but he played it. Yeah. I mean, but that. I mean, there are personality things there. Obviously, Napoli worked for him, but that was also like, why did Napoli work for him?
So I wonder, as we start to have these conversations and we start establish ourselves as a football country, and we have these cultural conversations, I think you do have to kind of have an eras conversation where it's Mia Hamm and it's Michelle Akers, and that's an era, and those are the goats of the era. I mean, we're almost getting to that point where you talk about Michael Jackson versus LeBron or something, because the game is completely different in basketball these days.
Who?
Michael Jordan and LeBron?
Oh, that's not what you said the first time.
What did I say?
You said Michael Jackson.
I said Jackson?
You said Michael Jackson. Wow. I was like, who are you going to pair Michael Jackson and who exactly? Who's the modern Michael Jackson?
JTT?
Yeah. Oh, man. JTT, a shout for one shot on frame in the comments. Somebody said you should.
Is that JTT?
it's JTT!
Who?
Is he like on an extended vacation after New Zealand and Australia?
I saw him going back out jet setting again. I don't know where he was going, but he was going someplace. I saw a hotel chandelier pic on Instagram.
Okay.
No Birkenstock pic yet, though. Come on, JTT. What are you doing with yourself?
Airport carpet? No airport carpet pics?
You know, it might be the time of year where JTT puts the toes away for the season. I don't know.
Fall JTT in autumn.
Birkenstocktober is coming.
I'll take that. I'll take a Birkenstocktober. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he may have been traveling. He may have been traveling for the women's game. I'm not sure.
No, he's probably doing stuff. I'm just saying.
All I know is he hasn't been in the chat for a while.
He hasn't popped up.
He doesn't have the half a world away excuse anymore. Where's he at?
Yeah. All right. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. And I had this thought too, and maybe I'll shut down after this. We may get to a point in the relatively near future, because although I think Pulisic's on a track to probably the next 5 or 6 years start to make claim to that greatest American player of all time, and it might be him for a while, we are on a path that could lead to a guy born in England or a guy born in Italy or a guy born somewhere in Holland is the greatest American player, and he's American, and they played for the national team, and he has to be considered. I just think that's an interesting thing to ponder, because I think we are pretty precious about the idea of, Landon came from the Inland Empire, and Deuce came out of Texas, and, these guys, whoever you want to put on that list, even John O'Brien, who had a white-hot career that flamed out because of injury, that's a California kid. Like Jersey kids like Harks and Miola and Reyna. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It could be Gio, by the way. Gio's definitely American through and through, but that's I think interesting to think about.
Yeah, and that's not something we really have in any other sport in America, where we don't embrace that dual national. It's not really a thing in pretty much any other sport that we have.
We don't have outside of outside of soccer. There's not, and obviously the relative popularity of soccer to other sports is a factor here, but we just don't do national teams. We do Olympics, but only we watch that every 4 years, and we go, what are they playing? Tiddlywinks? Go America!
Surprising that baseball is being the first sport to kind of get there. This last year,
with the World Baseball Classic,
that got a lot more attention and interest than I thought it would. So I'm happy to kind of see that happening there.
But here's the thing about, and I'll cross my streams here for a second because I'm a bit of a baseball guy still after growing up with the sport. It maybe because I'm biased by soccer, the rules around the WBC are entirely too fuzzy for me to really buy in. Like there was a pitcher, and somebody in the chat might know this. There was a pitcher, one of his parents from Puerto Rico, played for the United States in a World Baseball Classic, and then switched and represented Puerto Rico in the last one.
If they only had something classy and stoic and classical like FIFA to help establish those rules.
If only they had some bastard evil organization on a mountaintop in Zurich telling them what to do. Like if only they had Johnny around to tell them, no, you can't play for both countries.
If only there was someone in baseball that was willing to kiss the pitchers on the mouths as they win their trophies.
I mean, baseball and the World Baseball Classic is interesting because they're pushing it and they're trying to make it more of a thing. And it's certainly gotten interesting. And look, I know Puerto Ricans love it because I've been exposed to Puerto Ricans, celebrating their team, even if they don't care about baseball. Go out, sing the songs, wave the flag, all that stuff. Baseball is a sport where the club teams, the Major League Baseball teams in most cases, control so much of a player's fortunes, right? Not only do they pay them millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, they don't want those guys going out and getting hurt. And so the WBC has all these very strict rules on how many pitches a pitcher can throw and all these things. And they're meant to protect the players, but they're also meant to protect the investment of the Dodgers and the Cubs and the Red Sox and the Yankees and all those things. And it kind of dilutes it, again, for me as a soccer fan, because we're not there yet with the international game in soccer, but we might be. We might be headed
the rules
that
loose allowed a lot of players at the top level to represent other countries and make the level of play higher.
That's true. And is that a thing? Like when you've got, I think Mike Piazza, so whoever it was, played for Italy at one point. Like, is that something that
it's Piazza?
Is that something that, like, I don't know that makes me care. I mean, there are teams that are lots of locally grown players, right? I mean, Puerto Rico's one of those. But there were American-born players who represented Puerto Rico. The Dutch, I think they end up with some players from the West Indies because Curacao cares about baseball.
France and
Aruba.
Africa,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. All right. Anything else, Mr. Dubois? Any other business?
If you guys want, get in on the Patreon. It's going crazy right now on the Slack. Get in there if you want the bonus shows. Pretty long one. We did almost an hour bonus show last week.
Did we?
It was
it good? Was it
never
good?
But fun. Never good, but fun.
No, I think it was excellent. We talked about like books and what else?
It definitely got dirty at one point.
I know what we talked about. I remember what we talked about. Yeah,
I never remember.
It was old Dad FC material. It was specific to body changes when you enter the old Dad FC.
Oh, the effects of gravity upon a male.
upon a man.
Florida.
What is it with you? You've turned us risque and blue like the last couple of weeks.
Like do you know how many times I had to apologize to the woman that's literally I just put up in the chat? And Morgan, do you know how many times I had to apologize to her?
Oh, that was the best part of the old bonus shows. Always like, I'm sorry, Morgan. I'm so sorry, Morgan. Morgan's an adult human being. She can handle it. She's fine.
She knows what she signed up for.
All right. Patreon.com/the best soccer show. Patreon.com/the best soccer show. Ratings and reviews. Please help us out. Apple Podcasts or wherever. Subscribe to the show. Let's get to 2,000. Can we do that before the next episode of the show? I think that's the challenge. Before we do the next live episode, let's be at 2K on YouTube.
Let's not forget Morgan was our host on the Newlywed Game when we played last December on the bonus show.
Yeah. Let's not forget that. Let's remember all time.
What I do remember is I didn't win. Somehow Nikki Soup and Salad won that game.
You can get access to that through the Patreon. The archives are there. Like the thing about the bonus show is it's not time sensitive. The bonus show lives outside of time. It is like Arrival. I just watched Arrival. She experiences time non-linearly. That's how the bonus show works. It's non-linear.
You can get the episode where we played Newlywed Game with our wives. I believe they were on camera. I think that was video. We got our wives on camera somehow. Yeah. We can get the episode where Nikki eats sushi as a bet payoff, and Jason Welch's on his ability to shave his beard.
I just told you, Lionel Messi is proof. Do not shave off your beard. It hurts you in the long run. And the short term, too. Go ahead.
There's some classic bet bonus show episodes out there in the archive. I mean, literally, there's probably, I don't know, a day's worth of bonus shows.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
there's more than 24 hours. Jesus, there's days of bonus shows.
Go look at the feed. It's all there.
You got a long road trip coming up and you don't mind your kids hearing the F word a few times? Download the bonus shows.
I mean, I would suggest not listening to the bonus shows with your kids around unless they're very mature for their age. But, do you. You do you. And the last thing I'll say one more time, please support One Shot on Frame, my long-form interview show on YouTube. I'm putting up clips of each interview and then probably going to post the full interview for some of these. So check that out. Subscribe. Get me to 300. That would be cool. Mr. Dubois, thank you for hanging out. Talk to you guys next week. Bye. Ricky Push.
Is that JTT?
OFFPG13, it's JTT!
Who?
Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
I think I'm starting to like Cincinnati.
Get to the chopper!
Who asked those questions?
Go to DEFCON 2.
What are we doing?
WNBC. WNBC.
Oh, it's incredible!
Michael freaking Arasco Fiscal.
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Jay Rodius.